So I'd just like to show you one other real quick sort of fun way of modeling that I use quite a bit, especially for doing organic things like heads and that sort of thing. So what I do is I get a cube or whatever primitive you're going to start off with, delete half of it, make a clone of that. So we'll just go to duplicate instantiate, clone single, and just scale that clone in -1. So we now have basically two parts that creates a sort of symmetry thing. So if I move something here, it moves on the other side as well. Now what I do is I grab both and merge them together. So I go to Polymesh, merge, and just increase this to about 4, so that even if I pull them apart, it'll still merge them together. Okay, so then I grab my original cube back again, and I can just hide that off. And now I have the Polymesh. I can just increase the subdivision level on that. And this guy, this is the one that I'm actually going to be modeling with, but I just want to see that sort of as a whole, as wireframe on the outside. So I can just go into my display, there we go, and I want it to be local, and I'm just going to change this to be wireframe throughout the whole thing. Okay, and copy static mode to all. We can actually go into shaded mode here now, and untick that, override object properties. Now the other thing is this guy, I don't want to be selecting that accidentally, so I'm just going to go in here and turn off my selectability. Okay, so now I've made a setup for modeling in Symmetry, and I'll just turn on my headlights so that I can see what I'm doing. Fantastic. Okay, so now I can spin around this guy and see everything, but I can model on this outside fella, and you'll see that it's then modeled in Symmetry quite easily. Now the other thing about this is sometimes it's useful. I'm hiding the lines behind here, but if I actually select, it will select through because this one here is in wireframe. So basically go into your display options and you can turn on X-ray view. That's right here, X-ray mode. Okay, and then we can say screen or overlay, whichever you prefer. Both will work fine. Okay, so again, it's up to you to sort of find an elegant way of working. I like this way because it allows me to see sort of what's going on. And then if I just start, pulling points and moving bits around and adding detail as I go, you can sort of really create some fairly funky stuff very, very easily. The only one thing to remember about working in this method is if I actually extrude any of the any of the polygons along the edge, you'll find that you get a double sort of edge creation thing, or a double sort of nodule here, because what it does is it also adds a polygon on this side. To get rid of that, simply just delete that polygon. So what you can always do is just snap all of the edges sort of along here into a sort of a plane, then just select all of the polygons like that, and then just delete them, and then it'll snap together. So basically then the workflow here for this guy is just sort of pull out and add detail and just have a ball, really. I mean, it's not a matter of again creating any fantastically special effects, but you can see very quickly when you're working like this what's going on and where things are going. And one trick that's pretty cool is if you have you want to create some sort of subtle detail on the surface, and basically what I'm going to do is actually just go into display options, and I can turn the X-ray mode on and off here, and what I'll do is I'll just work on this side for a bit and just show you what it does. So I just subdivide this guy, and then by taking one of these polygons, you can actually, if you go into rotate mode and just go into local, you can rotate this guy around to really create the edges that you want in the detail. So for example, if you're going to create sort of some cheeks for this fellow here, this is going to be like a character, you can really just rotate them around, and you can see then on the other side exactly what's happening with the surface. So it's a great way of really modeling organic, nice touches to it. Don't forget that you can model with the edges, you can model with the points, you can model with the polygons, and you can also rotate them. So it really makes a lot of difference in terms of actually the way you make the flow lines, just by modifying the edges to really flow around. Use things like the duplicate tool to create, more detail if you need to. Just go in there and then maybe scale it down a little bit, or maybe in all directions, or inset it a bit if you want to. Yeah, you can start creating then some eyes out of this or something. I'm not putting that much effort into the actual creation of this, but just to give you an idea of how it works in the actual process. But you can see very quickly you can start to create nicely organic shapes and really easily see what's going on, giving you a lot of visual feedback about how it's going to look. And because you're only worrying about one side of the actual model, it's again very, very fast way of working. So there we go, something like that. Now maybe we want to make him some nostrils, and something like that, maybe in there. Move them up a little bit, and also what I found is that multiple levels of duplicates actually are great for creating sort of a gentle fall off into the, especially for things like nostrils. Yeah. So you can create something like that. So that's looking a little bit better. And then maybe turn on my X-ray mode again. You could actually put a little custom control thing for that, but let's just do that. And maybe this guy and this guy. So something like that, and just add a whole edge to that, so that we now have something to work with the eyebrows. Just add a little bit of eyebrow control there. Okay, something maybe like that. And then again, maybe just grab these guys here and add another level. And as you see, I'm not really worrying too much about creating, really careful geometry. Obviously, you'll want to, if you're really working for animation, you'll want to put a little bit more work into really creating nice sort of geometry this way. But for me right now, it's just to show you a little bit about the modeling side of things. So something like that. Anyway, you can see this is sort of the point. And you just add more and more detail, however you feel. And you really don't have to worry too much about anything except for just making it really flow nicely and look the way that you want. So maybe add some hollow cheeks in there. Okay, and something maybe like that. And I can then just continue on, just adding detail as you go. And really, the sky's the limit for what you can create out of that. So this is supposed to be sort of a little pointer in a good way to start doing some organic modeling. All I can do is just suggest you sit down and play with it and see where it takes you. Again, I always suggest, if you're starting off modeling, do start with some sort of reference, because if you don't, you're going to get lost real quickly, even if you think you know what you're doing, sort of like I do. I always tend to get lost, and then I always regret not having some sort of reference. The more reference things you have, even if it's from different objects, just to give you ideas, definitely the better it'll be, and the more successful you'll be when actually doing the modeling itself. Alright, so I'm just going to add one more little bevel here to create a nice sort of back of the head here, and then I'm just going to leave you with a very odd looking alien face sort of thing. Okay, so thanks a lot, and hope you have some fun just trying around, playing around, seeing what you can come up with.